Breaking news right now. The Metrolink train and a freight train have collided.
That Metrolink train is tipped over there. This just happened within the last 5 or 10 minutes, so you can see the fire department has a lot of work on their hands.
We got there, I was in shock. I've never seen anything like it. The engine was gone.
The question is, how could this possibly have happened?
Investigators now are focusing on the engineer.
A Metrolink engineer was texting before that deadly crash.
Texting may have caused the deadly head-on collision of a commuter passenger train and a freight train in L.A. Investigators have discovered that the engineer of that passenger train was sending and receiving up to 57 text messages that day and sent one text as late as 22 seconds before the head-on crash. Now, my guest Francisco was on that passenger train.
The last thing I remember was I looked up and I saw the Union Pacific train coming at us, but since I've seen it before, we either bypass it or the train bypasses us, and so I didn't think anything of it. I didn't get scared. I then turned back to my magazine to start reading it when I heard the loud boom.
Now, Francisco's life was saved by Roland, a rescue worker who raced to the scene and pulled Francisco out of the wreckage.
Right where you see the marker there on the railroad track there, that's basically where the two trains had collided. One of the first bodies that was brought out by two firefighters wrapped in a white sheet, must have been like 5 feet from me, where they laid him down. And then I saw firefighters bringing more bodies, and basically that became the temporary morgue. I ended up getting two shovels from the fire engine, and I placed them together and I created a cross just to set up a little spiritual symbol.
That's tough for you to watch.
Yeah.
Because it kind of just brings it all back.
It's tough to see.
And I know you have very strong feelings about this. The trauma is still fresh for both of these men. They're outraged that all of this bloodshed and damage could have been caused by texting.
The fact that he was text messaging a few seconds before impact boils my blood to take their attention away from the tremendous responsibility that they have with all these people.
The fact that someone was text messaging, I got very upset because I started thinking back about the times that I've seen the conductors using their cell phones to make phone calls, and I thought, why is it that people were allowed to use their cell phones to either text message or make personal cell phone calls instead of doing what they should be doing? So I felt angry about it, and I also felt sad at the same time.
This guy pushed down on that send button, and look what he did. He took all those lives.
Now, you had to come onto the stage on crutches today.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I had a cartilage and ligament damage on my knee, and I have a laceration under the bottom of my knee. Got cracked ribs and some major bruising on my back and some scarring on my face as well.
Yeah, and you were in the last car.
I was in the last car.
Roland, you weren't at the crash site. You saw emergency vehicles going by.
Correct.
And you thought that something's happened, and you went to see if you could help.
Right. When I saw the amount of vehicles crossing by, and then as I was getting closer, maybe within about a mile or so, I saw a number of helicopters. So I just followed a couple of battalion chiefs and some motorcycle officers, and we were there. Here I am on the freeway, and in the next 10 minutes or so, I'm seeing bodies everywhere, and obviously that's when I came up from behind the train opposite to the area where the command post was and triage area, and that's when I came across Francisco, later discovered as being Francisco in that car.
Yeah, aren't you glad he did?
I owe him a lot.
Because you've been trained.
I've seen too much.
Well, Roland has specialized training in this. He wasn't just a looky-loo. And he recently returned to the scene of the accident for the first time and agreed to take our cameras along with him.
I came up, of course, up to the railroad tracks. Over to the right is where we had the impact of both the freight train and the Metrolink train. And from there, On the pavement side is where we had the helicopters picking up and taking folks away. And then over to the left is where we had the command center set up. It was just blood and chaos and people in shock, disoriented, cell phones going off, firemen everywhere, deputies everywhere. It was just one tremendous incident.
Well, how do you feel about the fact that all of this could have been caused by somebody texting as they went by the stop signal?
I was frustrated about it, and if they had asked me, will you board the train, but the engineer is going to be text messaging while he operates the train, I would have said no.
Yeah, that's very well put, by the way. Thank you.